Welcome to my cooking show. Just kidding, sort of. This is a bit of an unconventional video, but you would be surprised how many times people have asked. I'm going to be breaking down all the different ways that you could die by kitchen contraption. You know, how it would feel, what would happen. Believe it or not, people have actually died a lot of these ways before. Let's get into it.
Realistically, most accidents involve these machines blowing up, but I've already covered an explosion. If you were to fall into one that's big enough, a lot of unpleasant but kinda neat things will happen. First of all, these machines reach a temp of 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Also, they spin 3,450 times per minute. If you fall in head first, you can hope that the rapid rotations will send you flying out. If not, your skin on your face and shoulder blades will spit and split, moisture will be sucked out, and inflammatory proteins released. Imagine a bubbling, oozing pizza burn, but more widespread. But that's not what's going to kill you. You're now revolving 58 times per second. This creates an extraordinary amount of spinning G-force. Plus, it's non-stop. Blood's being shot towards your feet, your tongue and eyes are swelling rapidly, your brain's no longer getting oxygen. Within 45 to 60 seconds, you'll be out cold, and death will arrive in minutes. Your body will look like a scorched jumbo inflatable from the neck up. Believe it or not, boiling to death was a practiced execution method in the 1500s. Today, it mostly happens by accident in hot springs or sewers. Have you ever gotten a scorching shock after removing a lid from a pot of boiling water? Well, your delicate tissues like your skin, lungs, and eyes will begin to burn from the steam before you touch the water. Once you hit, your extremities will begin screaming in scalding pain. Within moments, your limbs will follow suit. Soon you'll be so overcome with misery that you'll find it difficult to speak. Your entire body will redden, split, spit, and blister. Then comes the putrid, sweet, musty stench of your flesh and muscles cooking. The surrounding heat will also begin to cook your kidneys, stomach, and liver, pulling out any moisture. It's difficult to know exactly what it feels like, but the animal-like shrieks and howls that bystanders have witnessed tells us that it's far from pleasant. At a constant temp of 212 degrees or more, you'll be dead from hypothermia within around 13 minutes. Sadly, according to historical record, you'll be aware through most of it. Your typical device heats to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. It cooks by using a heating element and fan which continuously circulates hot air around your food. In this case, that's you. You're in for some concentrated hell right off the bat. You know when you open the oven door on Thanksgiving after cooking your turkey for hours and a jarring whoosh of hot air floods your face and burns your eyes? Well, that's nothing. Right away, the air at 300 degrees and rising will cling to your flesh like a bodysuit of hornets assaulting your nerves. All moisture will be sucked on out, revealing shriveled, splitting, unrecognizable skin. Meanwhile, inflammatory proteins are being released inside of you, causing every single capillary to leak blood. Your lungs feel like they're being singed into soot, but the kicker is you can't even breathe. You're caught in a tornado of dry lava and there's nowhere for you to hide. It isn't long before your eyelids disintegrate. You can smell the sickly sweet aroma of your internal organs and meats cooking. The searing agony penetrates to your deepest depths and you won't even lose consciousness for 4 to 6 minutes. Yikes. This one is a little tricky. The size of the person and how much fat they have on their body is a huge factor. The more fat, the better. The fat would protect your internal organs for a longer period of time. However, it can catch fire. Your main arteries, like the carotid, would still cook at the same rate. Upon entering the hot crackling oil, you would acquire third-degree burns in a matter of seconds and near fourth within 10. This may actually cause worse scalding pain than burning alive. Sure, frying oil isn't nearly as hot as fire, but oil holds in heat. Plus, it clings to your silhouette tightly. By the minute mark, your carotid will be cooked, causing a major blockage, preventing blood and oxygen from reaching the brain. Furthermore, you might just burst into flames, adding severe insult to injury. I'm thinking it will feel like napalm all over your body, seeping deep into every layer of flesh. Inescapable misery. You will be unconscious due to shock after maybe a minute, and dead within 2 due to thermal decomposition of your tissue. You might think this is out of the realm of possibility. Well, think again. There are industrial blenders and people have died in them. What would actually happen? Well, first, the spinning blades will create a vacuum-like force that will be impossible to escape. As they gyrate, you'll obtain long, deep gashes all over your trunk that will give you the sensation of burning alive. But at the same time, you'll be rotating round and round, which will create a G-force strong enough to pull all blood flow away from your brain. Your eyeballs will begin to feel like they're popping out of the sockets because, well, they basically are, but luckily you'll nod out within 8 to 9 seconds. Sadly, not before you lose massive amounts of blood. That vacuum force will also accelerate blood loss. It will basically pull it from your body. Depending on the physical trauma locations, your organs may actually spill out of your wounds. Your bowels will be especially vulnerable to this. Death may be swift, but I promise it will be the longest 8 to 9 seconds of your life. Sadly, people have died this way. They are huge, have powerful rotating bars, and the caramel is at a nasty 300 to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. The moment your body sinks into the molten sweets, you'll be smothered with curved, clinging liquid fire. Your epidermis will immediately shrivel like a fall leaf. It will rip open due to diminishing elasticity, allowing the misery to seep onto your lower layers of skin. Have you ever had sizzling fry oil land on your arms? Imagine that, but everywhere. There's no escape. At the same time that you're driven mad by the worst imaginable systemic agony, heavy metal bars will be slamming into you with the force of a 200-pound tree branch falling from 20 feet up. The trauma can easily mangle your insides, and with any luck, will knock you out, releasing you from hell's grasp. If not, you'll have to endure the release of massive amounts of inflammatory proteins, which will cause all of your capillaries to leak blood into your body. This will cause inflammation in even your mangled tissue, giving the effect of combusting from the inside out, and death can still take up to 4 minutes.
If that oven's preheated to 400 degrees, your first assault will be the ungodly pain in your flesh. Immediately, your skin will begin to bubble and split. You'll obtain third-degree burns in seconds. All moisture will be pulled out, causing your skin to shrivel and cook. Hypoxia will begin taking hold in under 30 seconds. Your blood vessels will be the next thing to begin baking. They will harden and wither, preventing your blood from circulating and reaching your brain. You might notice the nauseating stench of sweetmeats cooking if you aren't too consumed with agony. It will feel like your veins have turned to coarse sandpaper. Every slight movement will send you screeching in horror. Your heart will begin pounding erratically as potassium releases from your warming blood cells. It will feel like you're about to throw up your heart. Your eyeballs will begin to melt. It will feel like liquid metal adhering to your eyelids, and it will cause the skin to slough off and become tacky. Your eyes will feel like they're about to burst right before you die of hyperthermia after 4 to 5 minutes. The manner of death in this one might surprise you. Obviously, this isn't going to feel so pretty. Fun fact, steaming and boiling was used back in the day when people were skinned alive. The unfortunate soul had to endure this agony in order to tenderize their skin. The scalding vapor will cause second, followed quickly by third-degree burns in under 10 seconds. Your skin will become supple and then split open, allowing fluid to ooze out. The pain will be intense. Imagine a pizza oven burn, but all over your body. Your nerves will screech in horror. Also, you'll swell up like a balloon. Your eyeballs will begin twitching, which will cause an electrical surge of pain. Eventually, they'll begin to melt. But death will likely come from hypoxia or lack of oxygen. This will cause your organs to shut down. There will be little viable oxygen to breathe in, just the gas phase of water. In fact, people have died from simply inhaling vapor while sick. Unlike in the oven, suffering will only last a few minutes before you lose consciousness, and death will occur in 5 to 7.
These contraptions only heat to 140 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit, which means that your hell will be the gift that keeps on giving. That might not seem so hot, but you'll be lying on a metal rack, which conducts heat like a champ. It's going to sear right into your vulnerable flesh, leaving spitting, screaming grill marks all over your body. These will hover around 2nd degrees for far too long, which will leave every nerve wide awake and receptive to the burning anguish. The fans will continuously blow large whooshes of hot air into your face, giving the illusion that you can't breathe. And your throat will feel as if melting lard is sliding up and down, devouring any moisture. Your tongue will seem engorged and bone dry like a long-used baked sponge. Inside of 15 minutes, you'll lose the ability to sweat. Also, your cranium feels like it's being struck with bolts of lightning, sizzling handfuls of brain cells each time. A roaring wave of nausea erupts from your guts to your throat, which unleashes torrents of acid onto your parched tissue. Your eyeballs sting with a sensation of coarse sandpaper. Everything's slowly dying simultaneously, but you'll feel it all for up to 70 minutes.